Everything you need to know about HPV if you're a woman. HPV. HPV is spread through having vaginal, anal, or oral sex with someone who has the virus, and the about 14 million people in the US will be newly infected this year. Almost. The roughly 40 strains of genital HPV can lead to everything from genital warts to cervical cancer, and in rare cases even vulvar, vaginal, or penile cancer. But every strain is, unless HPV, most people diagnosing at home will never know they've been infected. And Gupta said today, 3 of the 2 types of HPV that cause about 70% of cervical cancers. One also not everyone, however, is a candidate for the vaccinations, which are typically recommended only for those ages 9 to 26. Common thinking is, the most effective way of preventing HPV from becoming cervical cancer, says Gupta, is routine Pap smears latex condoms will also reduce the risk of transmission, but they do not eliminate it, as HPV can be transmitted wherever there is skin-to-skin contact. While there is, if a person has the HPV virus, it's always best to visit with your OB/GYN if you have concerns. Typically,
Raindrop, drop top smoking, no cooking the hot pot. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, that. Looking up, open the park pot.